Whoa! Come on, 58. What the hell is that? This ain't Sunday school. You're as useless as your communication degree!
When a wrestler departs the crazy world of professional wrestling, they're likely to explore new ventures. These range from podcasting to a completely new sport such as MMA or NFL. Now this can have mixed results for wrestlers over the years, and sometimes the wrestler unfortunately fails at their new venture. But which times were they? Well, join us now as Wrestlelamia looks at 10 WWE wrestlers who tried other ventures but failed, in some cases miserably. Be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell for daily wrestling videos, and follow us on Facebook for exclusive lists. Number 10. The Big Show at acting. The Big Show has explored the medium of acting a number of times throughout his legendary career. He was notably in the Christmas classic Jingle All the Way, but this didn't lead to any major roles for the former WWE champion. In 2010, he would take the lead role in the Knucklehead movie, but this movie received widespread criticism and was officially classed as a critical and commercial flop. Fast forward to 2020 and the WWE released The Big Show Show on Netflix. This was a series that focused on the Big Show and his fictional family. Now the series was somewhat popular with wrestling fans, but it failed to reach a wider audience and it was ultimately cancelled just after one season. Number 9. Sean O'Haire at MMA. Sean O'Haire had all the potential in the world to be a major star for the WWE. In 2003, he was positioned alongside Rowdy Roddy Piper and was involved in the Mr. McMahon vs. Hulk Hogan rivalry. Unfortunately, O'Haire would be released in 2004 due to WWE not having any major plans for him. Following his departure from WWE, O'Haire decided to try out his hand at MMA. Between the years of 04 and 07, he would have a record of 2 wins and 4 losses. O'Haire would seemingly stop fighting in 2007, and it was clear that MMA wasn't the sport best suited to his talents. Number 8. Chris Jericho at acting. When Chris Jericho departed the WWE in 2005, he made a huge risk. He was leaving behind a main event spot in the WWE to explore other ventures. And one of these other options was music, which Jericho and his band Fozzy were extremely successful at. The band still remains relevant and popular to this very day and is responsible for Jericho's AEW theme song titled Judas. Another one of Jericho's ventures was acting, and this would be a venture that wouldn't live up to Jericho's expectations. Jericho believed that due to his name and status in the pro wrestling industry, he would be able to simply walk into auditions and get the role, but that wasn't what happened. Jericho would have a few minor appearances in various movies or television shows, but he failed to catch a major break in the competitive world of Hollywood. In 2013, Jericho launched But I'm Chris Jericho, which was a web series which focused on Jericho's trouble landing acting gigs. The show lasted 2 seasons and WWE fans were receptive to the series, but again it failed to land Jericho with any further acting roles. Jericho also explored the world of podcasting, and this has been a major success for him. His acclaimed podcast titled Talk is Jericho has been running for a number of years and is often cited as one of the most popular wrestling podcasts around. Number 7. TAZZ and Michael Cole, a radio show. TAZZ and Michael Cole were a popular commentary duo during the Ruthless Aggression era. The two bounced off each other well and seemed to have a great friendship behind the scene. In 2006, the two managed to get a slot on Howard Stern's radio show. This was a huge opportunity for the two to branch out and truly make a name for themselves outside of WWE. Unfortunately, their new venture was a complete flop. It only lasted a couple of weeks before being cancelled indefinitely. During one of the episodes of the show, Michael Cole decided to go off on a foul-mouthed rant to a caller who called to complain about his commentary. This didn't help the show staying on the air and potentially could have cost Cole as well as TAZZ their time slot. Number 6. Triple H at acting.
I know I don't have a place in your heart right now, or your mom's, at least not yet.
In the early 2000s, Triple H wanted to follow the success of The Rock by branching out to Hollywood. Triple H would be cast in Blade Trinity and the movie would be critically panned. Triple H's performances was one of the weakest out of the entire cast according to a number of critics, and this performance seriously impacted Triple H's chances of becoming a Hollywood megastar. His next acting gig would come in 2011 when he starred in WWE studio release The Chaperone. The script and Triple H's acting was criticized heavily, and this would become one of the last times that Triple H would appear in a live-action movie. During Triple H's Thy Kingdom Come documentary, he revealed he simply viewed his acting ventures as a hobby and was never going to leave the WWE if he reached the success that was awarded to the likes of The Rock and Batista. Number 5. Bam Bam Bigelow at MMA. Bam Bam Bigelow had success in virtually every wrestling company he went to. However, in '96 he decided to try out his hand at MMA, and this move failed to match the same high standard that his wrestling career set. This was an interesting move from the former Wrestlemania main eventer. Now Bam Bam had an intimidating look and was certainly someone that you would think to do well in the octagon, but it wasn't to be. He had a total of 1 MMA fight and he lost in round 1 to a rear naked choke. Bam Bam shared a story in 1998 where he revealed he was paid to throw the fight, but this has never been confirmed. Following his lackluster run in MMA, Bam Bam would return to the squared circle where he would compete in the ring until his official retirement in 2006. Number 4. Goldberg at acting. And 1999 was an interesting year for Bill Goldberg. In the prior 2 years he had become a household name in professional wrestling, and thanks to this there was a lot of interest in seeing him in movies and television shows. In 1999 he appeared in the sci-fi movie Universal Soldier: The Return, a movie which Goldberg hoped would have launched him into the spotlight in Hollywood, but sadly the movie was a complete flop at the box office. Then in 2004 he explored acting as a new venture now that his wrestling career was seemingly finished. In 2005 he starred in the cult classic The Longest Yard, as well as the horror movie Santa's Slay, but these movies did little to create buzz for the former world champion in Hollywood. He would also make minor appearances on television shows such as The Goldbergs in 2017 and NCIS in 2018. Although these are widely popular shows, it wasn't enough for Goldberg, which certainly explains his decision to come back to the WWE every year since 2016. Number 3. Brock Lesnar in NFL. When Brock Lesnar left the WWE in 2004, he had a strong desire to achieve his dream of becoming a footballer. Lesnar's road to his dream started off strong, as his training went so well that he was selected for the practice squad of the Minnesota Vikings. Around this time, Lesnar was involved in a road accident which left him with a number of serious injuries, but the former world champion didn't let this hold him back. Lesnar participated in the 2-month-long training camp with the team, but he was ultimately omitted from their final roster. A number of NFL experts cite that Lesnar's road accident injuries, as well as his established injuries from his time in WWE, were a huge factor in his football career not working out. Luckily for Lesnar, his next venture, that being the UFC, was a surefire success. He would go on to become one of the greatest and most marketable MMA fighters in the history of UFC. Number 2. CM Punk at MMA.
And it is now or never for me. I have a limited window just like all fighters do, and I fully intend to get in there, and I'm here for a fight.
CM Punk's MMA career couldn't have gone any worse for the current AEW superstar. When Punk departed the WWE in 2014, Punk wanted to try his hand at MMA. Unfortunately, both of Punk's UFC fights ended in convincing defeats. His first fight took place at UFC 203, where he would lose to Mickey Gall in round 1. His second fight at UFC 225 ended up in a unanimous decision in favor of Punk's opponent Mike Jackson. Now, his loss to Mike Jackson has been overturned, but this was only due to failing a drug test. Now, the fight with Jackson was so poorly received that UFC President Dana White called the fight one of the worst fights he's ever seen. That particular night was the end of Punk's infamous MMA career. And number 1, Hulk Hogan at acting. Due to Hulk Hogan's immense popularity, he was offered a number of high-profile acting roles during his career. These ranged from Rocky III to No Holds Barred. Hogan believed he had a major shot at cracking Hollywood, so much so that Hogan departed the WWE in the early 90s to pursue a career in acting. In 1994, Hogan started the television show Thunder in Paradise, which was supposed to be his big break, but the show never found a big enough audience to warrant its large budget. It didn't also help the fact that Hogan was informing the press during the promotion for the show that he was considering going back to wrestling full time and that he didn't want to do the show anymore. This was mainly due to there being a lack of interest in seeing Hogan in anything that wasn't a wrestling ring, and Hogan knew that there was still money to be made in pro wrestling. Following the show being cancelled, he would make minor appearances in a number of movies and TV shows, but there was simply no interest in seeing Hogan in a major blockbuster. But there you have it, folks, 10 WWE wrestlers who tried other ventures but failed, and in some cases miserably. Be sure to leave your comments down below, and I'll see you next time with some more wrestling content.